with a flathead screwdriver. I'm going to go ahead and unscrew this drain plug for the radiator. As you unscrew it, just be careful of coolant splashing on you. Now from under the hood, I'm going to take the radiator cap off. This will speed up the draining process a little bit. There we go. This is going to let air go in as the coolant comes out. Now that the coolant's drained, let's remove the overflow tank, 2 10mm bolts, one over here. Take that out, and one all the way down here. Take that one out as well. Now this reservoir can move up and out of the way. Set it right over here. Now let's remove this cover. Just pull straight up on it, and there will be a little tab that you have to pry on right there using just a flat blade screwdriver. Lift up. That'll unlock this whole outer casing here, and then now the long extension and a 10mm. I'm going to remove that nut right there. Now let's slide this up all the way and move it up and out of the way. I'm probably going to bungee cord it over here. This gives us access to removing this bracket here, which will give us a lot more access to the thermostat housing. Now with a 12mm, let's remove those 2 bolts. That's 1. And that's 2. Take those out and remove this bracket. Now let's disconnect this smaller hose first. I'm going to grab the hose clamp, and usually you would want to slide the hose clamp off, but in my case the hose is so swollen here that I can't slide it off, it just gets stuck. So what I'm going to do is hold it open and slide the hose off this way. Perfect. Set that aside, just wherever, as long as it's out of your way. Now let's grab this bigger hose, disconnect that. Grab the hose clamp, slide it off, and now you can take the hose and just gently wiggle it. This one's severely corroded in there. I have my drain bucket underneath just in case more coolant comes out, but in this case it's all drained, so that's perfect. Set that out of your way as well. Now that everything's off the thermostat housing, all that's holding this on is 3 bolts. One is right behind here, another one up top, another one right here to the side, and one down below. They basically form a triangle, so 1, 2, 3. I'm going to start with that one right there. There we go. That one's broken free. I guess you just need quite a bit of leverage for those. They're pretty stuck in there. Get it by hand. Okay, here's bolt number 1. There it is. Let's take out the second one. This one's a little bit easier to reach. Okay, there's our second one. Okay, let's do this bottom one. Okay, so I guess the key here is you need a long 1/4-inch ratchet with a lot of leverage, because those are pretty tight. Okay, there we go. This third one is coming out with the housing. Take this bolt out, and here is your thermostat housing. So let's put this new one down here, line it up. I cleaned up the surface and made sure that the old gasket was not on there still. I'm actually going to put this front bolt through. That way, as soon as it goes down here, I can have something to start. I can have one of the bolts ready to start, and that way it'll actually stay on there and not fall off. I have all 3 bolts started. This is, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty difficult to hold this, the gasket, line it all up, start it. It's not fun. Now let's snug all 3 of these up and torque them to 85 inch-pounds. Okay. So 85 inch-pounds. I'll start with this one. Right there. Right there, 85. Perfect. They're all torqued to 85 inch-pounds. Let's reattach the radiator hose. Slide it on all the way. And put the clamp back on. Okay, set it to just about where it was before. That'll help it make the best seal possible. And let's get the other hose on. Grab the clamp. Slide it on. The hose is on, but the clamp isn't really as far in as I would like it. So there you go. Position it right where it was. Let's slide this bracket back in, line it up with the 2 bolt holes. Start in the 2 bolts. Let's snug them up. That's 1 and 2. Slide in this next, line it up with, so this groove here needs to slide on to that little plate there and lock on. That's snapped in place. Press it down to make sure it's actually seated. It's not wobbling or anything. You can put this cap on, line it up. This will just click into place. Okay, and if your nut with the stud right there didn't break, go ahead and put that back on. But for me, it's pretty secure even without it, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Let's put the overflow reservoir back in. Line that up. Start in the 2 bolts. There should be one that goes right down there and one up top. Make sure those are nice and snug. Snug it up. So I have my coolant funnel here, and this is going to help me with 2 things. One, it'll help self-bleed better because this is now higher than the engine, so all the air is going to want to come out here as opposed to get stuck in the engine. Also, this is going to help me not spill coolant when I fill it. So I'm going to fill it with manufacturer specified coolant. I'm going to fill it to the top. Once it's done, I'll run the vehicle, and you want to run it with the heat on inside the car, and you want to wait for all the air bubbles to come out. Once your cooling fans have come on and you have no more air bubbles, you can shut the car off, let it cool down, and we'll cap it off from there. Now at this point is when I would turn on the car, like I explained before, with the heat on, let it run until the cooling fans come on, make sure it doesn't overheat, and once it has reached full operating temperature, shut it off, plug this up, and I'm going to take it out of here. I'm going to take this off of here, remove my adapter, and what I'm going to do with the rest of this is actually fill the overflow tank. So I'm going to go over here. So I'm going to put the rest into my overflow and make sure that it has at least enough to reach the maximum line. Perfect. This was actually just enough coolant. Cap this off. All right, let's put the cap on, clean up our mess, and take it for a road test.